It's often called America's Second War of Independence. Yet, it's one of the most overlooked conflicts in history. The War of 1812 pitted a young United States against the mighty British Empire. Again. But why did it happen? And why do so few people remember it? This war saw the British burn down the White House, an American president flee for his life, and the birth of the Star-Spangled Banner. This is the story of the War of 1812, America versus Britain, a forgotten conflict. Why did the war start? By the early 1800s, Britain and France were locked in a massive war. But while these two European giants fought, American merchants were caught in the crossfire. The British Navy, desperate for sailors, began impressment, essentially kidnapping American sailors and forcing them to serve in the British fleet. Imagine being an American sailor working for your country, only to be stopped by the British and forced to fight their war. That's exactly what happened to thousands of Americans. Americans were furious. President James Madison had enough, and in June 1812, the United States declared war on Britain, despite having almost no army and a tiny navy. The battles began. With Britain busy fighting Napoleon, Americans thought they had a chance to take Canada, so they invaded and failed badly. At the Battle of Queenston Heights, American troops refused to cross into Canada because their commanders couldn't order them to leave U.S. soil. Talk about a bad start. Meanwhile, on the seas, Britain's powerful navy blockaded the U.S. coast, strangling trade and supplies. But America had a secret weapon, the USS Constitution. This legendary warship earned the nickname Old Ironsides when British cannonballs bounced right off its hull. By 1814, Britain was done fighting Napoleon and turned its full attention to America. The result? Disaster for the U.S. British forces stormed Washington, D.C., burned the White House, the Capitol, and other government buildings. President Madison had to flee the city. But then, something remarkable happened. First Lady Dolly Madison made sure to save one of America's most famous symbols, George Washington's portrait, before escaping the flames. As the British marched on, they attacked Baltimore's Fort McHenry. Bombs rained down for 25 straight hours. But when the smoke cleared, the American flag was still there. Inspired by this moment, a man named Francis Scott Key wrote a poem, one that would later become the Star-Spangled Banner. By 1815, both sides were tired of fighting. A peace treaty was signed in Ghent, Belgium, ending the war. But here's the twist. The biggest battle was yet to come. 2 weeks after the treaty was signed, Andrew Jackson led American troops in the Battle of New Orleans. The U.S. won in a stunning victory, only to find out later that the war was already over. So, what did this war really change? The borders stayed the same. No one really won. But for America, the War of 1812 was proof that this young country could stand up to a global superpower. It gave us legends, a national anthem, and an identity. And that's why this forgotten war is anything but forgettable. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating history. What war or battle should we cover next? Let me know in the comments.